I am making a Genesis format Rose Dragon deck profile. I recently played this in a Genesis tournament or in a Genesis tournament to test it, and there's a few things I noticed while playing, but they weren't that big of an issue. And I'll get to those when I eventually get to those cards. But starting off with the monsters, I play one copy of Supe. This is just in here for the copies of Supe Duskwalker, as Supe Duskwalker can get you into a free Rage Rose Witch. Next, I play one copy of Variant, the Circular Sorcerer. This card is a free summon if you have a plant or insect tuner in your graveyard. And then if you use it to synchro summon an insect or plant synchro monster, you can treat it as a non-tuner. And then next, I play two copies of Twilight Rose Black Knight. I know most people play one of this, but I honestly like it at two, just because being able to have a backup one just in case you open the one of, I feel like is pretty good. But Twilight Rose Knight has the effect that if it's summoned, then you can target a level 4 or lower plant monster from your graveyard, special summon defense with its effects negated. And then once per turn, you can use Twilight Rose Black Knight's effect, targeting one other plant monster you control to either increase or decrease its level by 1. And then while you control a synchro monster, your plant monsters you control gain 1,000 additional attack. That effect didn't come up, but I do like that it does provide an attack increase. Next, I play 3 copies of Red Rose Dragon. I'll go ahead and say it now. Everything in the deck thus far has been 0 points. And if I get to a card that has points, I will say how many points it has. And I believe this deck's total points are at 99. But Red Rose Dragon has the effect that if it's into the graveyard synchro material, then you can special summon a Rose Dragon monster from your deck or graveyard. I think it's deck or grave. Okay, from your hand or deck, except for another Red Rose Dragon. And then, if you ascend to the graveyard for the synchro summon a Black Rose Dragon or a plant synchro monster, then you can also add Blooming of the Darkest Rose or Frozen Rose from deck to hand. And you'll only use that effect of Red Rose Dragon once per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Rose Princess, 0 points. Rose Princess has the effect that while only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and when summoned this way, it's treated as a tuner. But you can also discard Rose Princess to be able to add a copy of White Rose Cloister from your deck to your hand. And you can only use each effect of Rose Princess once per turn. Next, I play the 0-point Rocks Rose Dragon. Rocks Rose Dragon has the effect that if this card is normal or special summoned, then you can add a card mentioning Black Rose Dragon from your deck to your hand. And then while this card is in your graveyard, if a face-up Rose Dragon monster or plant synchro is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, I think it's sent to the graveyard, is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect. There we go. Then you can activate Rocks Rose's effect to return it to your hand, and you can only use each effect of Rocks Rose Dragon once per turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Cyclos, the Circular Sprite. This card has the effect that if it's normal or special summoned, you can discard a card to then be able to add an insect or plant tuner from your deck to your hand. And then it also has the effect that if a plant synchro monster is, I believe, synchro summoned, while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon it, but banishment leaves the field. Okay, it just has to be special summon, not synchro summoned. And you can only use each effect as Cyclos, the Circular Sprite, once per turn. Next, I play 0 points Vengeful Witch. Vengeful Witch has the effect that if you control a monster that is Black Rose Dragon or mentions Black Rose Dragon, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then, if Vengeful Witch is sent to the graveyard while you control a synchro monster, then you can discard a card to then be able to special summon a plant monster from your deck that has 1500 or less defense. Usually, this will go to the graveyard, and you'll use this to summon your Twilight Rose Black Knight from deck. And you can use each effect of Vengeful Witch once per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of White Rose Dragon. White Rose Dragon has the effect that if it is normal summoned, then you can special summon a Rose Dragon from your hand or graveyard. Except for another White Rose Dragon. Then it has 2 other effects, where if you control a dragon or plant tuner monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then if it's sent to the graveyard for a synchro summon, then you can send a level 4 or higher plant monster from your deck to the graveyard. I believe it was level 4 or higher. Yes. Then I'd play the 0 point... Everything, again, if I haven't said it as any points, it's just going to be 0 points. I'm just going to say that now. I play 1 copy of Romarin. Romarin in this deck only has the purpose of being sent to the graveyard, because then Romarin will actually allow you to send a plant or insect synchro monster from your deck to the graveyard, or from your extra deck to the graveyard. I mean. Next, I'll play 3 Duskwalker. This card lets you discard 1 card, special summon it from your hand, and then you discard a card, special summon this, and then a Supe from your deck. However, you use that effect and you're synchro locked for the rest of the turn. Which is fine, because in this deck, the extra deck is nothing but synchros. And then just because I had 3 extra spots, I play 3 copies of Godarla. This just because the kaijus are free, at least at the time of this video. For the spells, I play 1 copy of White Rose Cloister. White Rose Cloister has the effect that if you control no monsters, then you can special summon a Rose Dragon or plant monster from your hand. And then during your draw phase, you can declare a card type, monster, spell, or trap, and then you draw the card and reveal it. And if it is the declared card type, then for the following effect is applied for the rest of the turn, where all your synchro monsters get an additional 1,000 attack. That effect usually doesn't matter. The fact that usually matters is just being able to summon a free body, because most of these effects activate when normal or special summoned. Next, I play 1 copy of Frozen Rose. Frozen Rose has the effect you send a face-up monster on you control to the graveyard, and then apply one of the following effects based on what it was sent. If it was a plant monster, then during the end phase you get to draw 2 and then discard 1. Or if it was a non-plant monster, then you can add a level 4 lower plant monster from your deck to your hand. Next, I played 2 copies of Pot of Avarice. I was a bit surprised to notice that Pot of Avarice is free. Pot of Avarice will let you target 5 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them back to the deck, and then draw 2 cards. Next, I played Basil Rose Shoot. Basil Rose Shoot has the effect of letting you special summon a Rose Dragon monster from your hand or graveyard. And then if it is destroyed... If the set card is destroyed, you can target a Black Rose Dragon or a monster that mentions it as banished or in your graveyard and special summon it. And you can only use each effect of Basil Rose Shoot once per turn. I knew there's a once per turn in it somewhere. Next, I play 3 copies of Black Rose Garden. Black Rose Garden has the effect that when it's activated, you can add a Rose Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. While it's on the field, all monsters become plant. And then lastly, if this card is destroyed, then your opponent will take 100 points of damage for every plant monster that's banished or in your graveyard. And then if it was destroyed by Black Rose Dragon, they'll take an additional 2,400 points of damage. And you can only activate 1 Black Rose Garden per turn. Make sure... Yeah, you can only use the burn effect of Black Rose Garden once per turn. So you can only activate 1, and you can only use the burn effect once. And then lastly, for 30 points each, I play 3 copies of Pot of Greed. This is where the vast majority of my points were. But what I probably could have done was instead of playing 3 Pot of Greed, I could have taken those out for 3 copies of Ash Blossom for 20 points each, and then a Glow Up Bulb, which would have made one of the extra deck monsters, one of the monsters in the extra deck, a bit actually good. Which in Glow Up Bulb is 21 points, so that's 81 there. So, yeah, I could have done that and just had an additional 9 points, or had additional 10 points to still add more cards. But this is what I went with because I wanted to have fun with the deck. So, and I have 3 Pot of Greed, so I figured why not. As Pot of Greed's only effect is draw 2 cards. Though the biggest fear I had with Pot of Greed was that my opponent was going to have Draw and Lockbird. Because activate Pot of Greed, draw 2, draw. Okay, I can't do my things now. And that is it for the main deck. Like I said, the main points for the deck, everything was free except for Pot of Greed. There are 3 points in the extra deck, and then the remaining 6 points are in the side deck. And I will say what the points are in the extra deck when I get to the card, but if I don't say the point, then just assume it's free. I play 1 copy of Lycurgus Lily Reaper. This card is in here for its grave effect of when your opponent takes effect damage, then you can bench a card from your graveyard to target, or I think it targets. Let's see. Okay, no, it does not target, and it sends. But when your opponent takes effect damage, you can bench this card from your graveyard to send 1 monster your opponent controls to the graveyard that has attack points equal to or less than the difference in your life points. And this card is really good in how I play the deck, just because I summon 3 of a card that does 1,800. That'll do in total 1,800 burn damage every time a monster effect is used. Next, I play 1 copy Garden Rose Maiden, also for its end phase graveyard effect of being able to banish it to summon a Rose Dragon monster or a Dragon Synchro from your graveyard. Next, I play 2 copies of Rage Rose Witch. Rage Rose Witch has the effect that while it's on the field, your plant monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects. And then when it is summoned, you can send up to 1 plant monster from your deck and extra deck to the graveyard. And then if this card's in the graveyard and a card on the field is destroyed, then you can special summon this card from your graveyard, and you can use each effect of Rage Rose Witch once per turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Queen of Thorns. Queen of Thorns is the harder of the 3 level 6 monsters, as just 2 Rage Rose and 1 Queen to summon, but it's not that hard. It's just most of the time, if you don't have Rage Rose, you want to make Rage Rose first, and then you can make Queen later. But Queen of Thorns has the effect that if either player wants to summon a non-plant monster from the hand, they have to pay 1,000 life points first. So it's just another way to lower your opponent's life points. Next, I play 1 copy of Perialis, Empress of Blossoms. Empress of Blossoms has the effect that it gains 400 attack for every other plant monster you control. And then once per turn, you can target a level 5 or higher plant monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense mode. And I believe that's it. Yeah, you will use this effect at Perialis, Empress of Blossoms once per turn. But you can use it to bring back a Rage Rose, a Queen of Thorns, 1 of your 1 point each, equaling 3 points, Bramble Rose Dragons. Bramble Rose Dragon has the effect that each time your opponent activates a monster effect, inflict 600 points of damage to your opponent. This does stack, so if you have all 3, that's 1,800. But you inflict 600 points of damage to your opponent, and then any monsters they control have their attack reduced by 600. And then Bramble Rose Dragon only has that effect while it's on the field after being synchro summoned. And then as a quick effect, Bramble Rose can tribute itself to summon a Black Rose Dragon from the extra deck, treating it as a synchro summon. And then lastly, Bramble Rose Dragon has the effect of being able to banish itself from the graveyard to target a level 4 or a plant monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Or not special summon, you don't target. You banish it to a special summon level 4 lower plant from your grave. Next, I play 3 copies of Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon has the effect that when it is synchro summoned, then you can activate Black Rose Dragon's effect to blow up every other card or all cards on the field. And then Black Rose Dragon also has the effect to target a defense position monster your opponent controls, banish a plant monster from your graveyard, to then change that defense monster to attack position with its attack reduced to 0. But that effect hardly ever actually came up. And the extra deck monster that I mentioned that I realized I couldn't really effectively use without Glow Up Bulb was 1 copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So if you want to play Pot of Greeds like I did, then you replace this with some insect or plant synchro monster that would be good for the deck. But Crystal Wing has the effect that when it battles a level 5 or higher monster, it gains that monster's attack till the end of the damage step. If your opponent activates a monster effect, you can activate Crystal Wing's effect to negate it, destroy it, and if you do destroy that monster, then Crystal Wing gains its attack until the end of the turn. But like I said, without Glow Bulb in the deck, I couldn't actually summon Crystal Wing, as it requires a tuner and a non-tuner synchro monster. The only way to realistically summon this in this deck is to use Twilight Rose Black Knight, and then either Queen of Thorns or Rage Rose Witch by using the Twilight Rose Knight's effect to reduce one of those two to level 5. So Crystal Wing could be summoned, it's just not usually going to happen. I also play 1 copy Arms of Genesys Return 0. This card is a monster negate by banishing a monster with the same attribute from your graveyard, but you can only banish each attribute once per turn. So you can banish a fire, an earth, and a wind, but then you cannot banish any one of those again for the turn. And then lastly, I play 1 copy of Ruddy Rose Dragon. Ruddy Rose Dragon has the effect of being able to, when it is synchro summoned, it will banish all cards from the graveyard. Then, if it was synchro summoned using Black Rose Dragon or a plant synchro monster, you can then destroy all other cards on the field. And then Ruddy Rose has the another effect of being able to, when your opponent activates a card or effect that would destroy a card or cards, you can tribute this card and negate the activation, then you can special summon a Black Rose Dragon from your deck or extra deck or graveyard. That is it for the extra deck. For the side deck I was using, I kind of panicked a bit trying to find cards that were free. So there are 6 cards in the extra side deck that are 1 point each. Starting off with the 0 point, I play 3 copies of Mind Control. This lets you take control of an opponent's monster. Or target monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end of the turn. But the target monster cannot attack and it cannot be attributed. Next, I play the 1 point Cosmic Cyclone. This will let you pay 1,000 life points, target a card, a spell or trap your opponent controls, and then banish it. Next is the 0 point Twin Twisters. Like you discard a card, target 2 spell or trap cards on the field, destroy them. Next, I play the 1 point 3 copies of Dark Hole. This just destroys all monsters on the field, but if you have your Rage Rose Witch in play, then your monsters cannot be destroyed by Dark Hole. Or your plant monsters, I should say. And then lastly, I play 3 copies of the 0 point Gravity Collapse. Gravity Collapse has the effect that when your opponent would summon a monster, then you contribute a synchro monster you control, just negate the summon, destroy the monster, and then your opponent cannot summon monsters for the rest of the turn. And that is it for my Regenesis format Rose Dragon deck profile. if you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, other than take out the 3 Pot of Greeds, put in like 3 Ash Blossom, Glow Up Bulb, replacing 90 points with 81 points, and give me another 10 points to mess around with. But if you have any ideas, feel free to comment down below. I always read the comments. Thanks for watching.